Hello, Henry from Belgium here. Today I'm taking a look at a set that perfectly shows why LEGO Adventurers was so popular in the early 2000s. This is LEGO 5975 TREX Transport, and this is not a set you build just to place neatly in a display case. This is a set that is designed to tell stories. You don't get just one vehicle here, but a complete expedition. A truck with a trailer and cage, a boat, a small vehicle for the villains, and 3 dinosaurs, including a large T-Rex. Everything in this box revolves around action, transport, conflict, and escape. Adventurers is a classic adventure theme centered around Johnny Thunder and his team, explorers who travel the world and are constantly opposed by a recurring villain. Dino Island, released in 2000, is a special branch within that theme. This time, it's not about treasures or temples, but about an island where dinosaurs still exist. The stakes are different: capturing animals, protecting them, transporting them, or exploiting them for personal gain. And this set is a perfect example of that. I have the set complete, including the original box, the instruction manual, and all parts according to the original inventory. Alongside the 5 well-themed minifigures and the 3 dinosaurs, the first major build is a large transport boat. What immediately stands out is LEGO's use of red 8x16 bricks for this model. These parts appear in red only in this set as part of a true playset. In all other cases, they are found exclusively in supplemental, educational, or base plate-focused sets. Here, however, they are used functionally as structural elements of the model, which immediately makes this build stand out. The use of older light grey elements is also striking, with the clear highlight being the 2 8x10x1 bow bricks in light old grey. These specific parts in this exact color appear only in this set, making them genuine key elements for collectors who want this set to be correct and complete. In addition to the boat, you also build a car with a trailer and a separate vehicle for the villains. These are 2 models that not only look good, but are also built in a way that feels different from more traditional LEGO cars, making the building experience varied and surprisingly engaging. The instruction manual consists of 32 pages, including the cover, and follows clear, easy-to-read building steps in a compact booklet format. Right at the end, there is even a nice extra included: alternative building instructions to create an airplane from the available parts, which fits perfectly within the adventurous spirit of the set. In addition to the large red 8x16 bricks, this set also includes a light grey trailer base, which is another slightly more special part and can be found in this color in only one other set. The large T-Rex is one of the absolute highlights of the set. You can find it in only 3 different sets, and it is actually an element made up of 5 separate parts that need to be assembled. The tail is a dinosaur piece, so it isn't the crocodile tail, and it isn't the classic dragon tail either. While the arms are the familiar dragon-style arm elements LEGO uses across multiple creatures. The Triceratops is set exclusive. You can only find it here, and I'm very happy to be able to add it to my collection as of today. It consists of 3 separate parts, actually 4, with white horns on top, which I will add later. There is also this small dinosaur, which is made from a single piece. You can find it in multiple sets, and in one particular set, even in gold. If you buy this set secondhand, these 3 animals should definitely be included, because they really define the story of the set. What also immediately caught my eye are these wheels with spokes. They were only introduced from 1998 onwards, and I honestly hadn't seen them before. A nice detail is that the rubber tires fitted around them are still exactly the same ones that have been produced since 1974. A few were missing in my set, and I was able to replace them with those older examples. There are also quite a few nice accessories included in this set, and they really help define the story and the playability. I had never seen some of these parts before, such as an old film camera with a film reel, an opening backpack, a sextant, and several other nice details. When it comes to the actual building parts, I mainly see white, black, light gray, and brown elements. This set comes from before LEGO introduced bluish gray and reddish brown. What does stand out though is the use of the slightly more modern tan color. I mainly associate that color with base plates from Western sets, but I hadn't really seen it used much as standard building bricks before, so I'm looking forward to working with it later on. And then the minifigures. 5 in total. A really nice number that immediately allows you to create interesting stories. I had never handled these figures before myself, and they are all in very nice condition. Each minifigure has a crisp print, both on the torso and the face, and they all have some kind of headgear, which completes that classic expedition look. They look adventurous and colorful, and you can really feel that LEGO wanted to create proper characters here. Everyone has a name, a clear role, and together they truly bring the story of the set to life. Johnny Thunder is the main character of LEGO Adventurers. This is the desert variant, named after the original desert subtheme, in which he was introduced in 1998. Johnny Thunder later received a new look with the Orient Expedition theme. This is the professor of the Adventurers team, Dr. Kilroy, also known as Dr. Charles Lightning. He is one of those characters that immediately gives Adventurers its classic expedition feel. This isn't just about action, but about research, observation, and trying to understand what's happening. In Dino Island, his role fits perfectly, because he adds a scientific angle to what would otherwise be pure chaos and danger. This is Mike, a character that truly belongs to Dino Island. He feels less like a traditional treasure hunter and more like someone who actually understands the island and its creatures. His presence shifts the story from simple pursuit to exploration, making the adventure feel like a real expedition rather than just a chase. This is Lord Sam Sinister, also known as Baron von Baron, the main antagonist of LEGO Adventurers. He is the constant opposing force throughout the theme, and on Dino Island, his motivation is very clear. Where others see discovery, he sees opportunity. His presence immediately creates conflict and raises the stakes of the story. Alexia Sinister is one of the less frequently seen characters within Adventurers. She appears in only 2 sets, which already makes her a bit more distinctive within the theme. In this set, she completes the villain side alongside Sam Sinister and gives the opposing group real presence, so the conflict feels balanced rather than one-sided. I start by building the boat. Not only are the red bricks quite uncommon here, but the same can be said for the light grey modified 4x10 bricks with cut corners. In light grey, these parts appear in only 2 sets. To my surprise, the same is true for the 2x8 slope bricks, which also appear in light grey in just 2 sets. Together with the front boat elements I mentioned earlier, this means the boat relies on a surprisingly large number of very specific parts, which makes it stand out. Because of all these large elements, the boat comes together quite quickly, and you immediately get a clear sense of its overall size. I measure it at about 36.5 centimeters long and 8.5 centimeters wide, which is quite impressive. Even though the basic structure comes together quite quickly, building this boat is still surprisingly enjoyable. There are also smaller elements involved, and along the way you build several side builds, like the one I'm working on right now, which is clearly meant to represent a steam furnace. It is finished with a tan 1x2 tile with a car gauges print, a really nice detail that I honestly hadn't come across before. By building this section, and with the chimney being added later on, I get the strong impression that LEGO is suggesting a steam-powered expedition boat here. There is even an opening where you could perfectly place 1x1 round plates to represent coal. Unfortunately, those are not included in the set, which would have added a nice extra play feature. After that, it's a bit of puzzling with various plates until I come across the bow brick 8x10x1 again. This time in white, which is even less common than the light grey version. You can only find it in one other set. The dark grey chain is another nice part to see included. This will later allow you to secure the dinosaurs on board. It's clear that this design deliberately prioritizes a lot of open space on the inner deck for the animals. There are no masts and no winch or crane constructions here, The focus is clearly on space and playability. The wheelhouse is another small side build, and it's also enjoyable to put together. It includes several nice elements and quite a lot of detail. I also have to say that the decoration throughout this section is fairly generous and clearly aimed at improving playability and storytelling. I already showed some of the details earlier in the video, but there's also a steering wheel, a shovel, various weapons, as well as crates and barrels to store them in. There's even an extra clip provided on the lower deck where you can attach accessories. The backpack feels a bit out of proportion to me for a minifigure, but it's probably meant more as a kind of large storage bag where you can actually put tiles or weapons inside. You can easily attach it to one of the studs on the boat. The ladders are another great addition, something I always like to see in a set. At the front, instead of an antenna, you get a weapon lance in white, which is a color you don't often see. Overall, I think the result looks very good. Colorful, richly detailed, and clearly designed for play and storytelling. I do have one small point of criticism. There are no smooth round plates underneath, which LEGO usually adds to models that aren't meant to float. That would have made it easier for the boat to slide across a table during play. The next thing I'm going to build is the truck, followed by the trailer that will hook onto it. I start with a gray plate, and right away I run into a few less common parts, such as the brown modified 2x4 plates with pins. You only find those in 3 sets. The build, and especially the color scheme, also feels very different from what I'm used to from Classic Town. This is not a city car or a simple standard truck, but a more rugged expedition vehicle with a very distinct look. There are also some nice details that immediately give the model character, like the license plate and the grille with the headlights, which I'm seeing here for the first time. The dark gray slope brick and the bricks with U-clips are also new parts for me to build with. They aren't rare as such, but you can feel that this already reflects a late 1990s parts palette and building style. I really love the wheels, and together with the large exhaust pipes, they make the truck feel quite imposing. The combination of this light grey hinge with a window is something I hadn't seen before, but that's actually not entirely correct. I've just noticed in the instruction manual that there should actually be a print on it, in the form of windshield wipers. It's a pity that I only noticed this now. I'll have to order them separately via Bricklink. If I had to give one small point of criticism, it's that the body could have used a few more bricks. I also miss some classic play features. Proper doors, a flip-up roof, and maybe a bit more signaling equipment. Still, as an adventure vehicle within this theme, it works well. It's eye-catching, sturdy, and it fits perfectly with the idea of going on an expedition. On the trailer, I immediately notice bricks with U-clips as well. They effectively replace a combination of several plates and a classic U-clip, but the advantage here is that the clip sits in the center of the brick, and you don't see any seams. That's something I can definitely appreciate. The rest of the build is enjoyable, and the tan elements actually work really well here. They're used in a subtle way and feel quite realistic. Another thing I really like is this part I'm seeing for the first time. A brown container crate with small pins that allow you to attach plates on top to create a lid. It's a nice building technique that I hadn't come across before. According to the instruction manual, you can place a coffee mug and a pair of binoculars inside, but of course that's entirely up to you. It does show once again that LEGO included elements here specifically to support storytelling. Next, I add the 9x16 grill bars, a locking mechanism, a black fence, and of course the wheels, the same type used on the truck. The dinosaur fits perfectly inside and stays securely in place. The trailer plate doesn't use a socket and tow ball combination, but instead has a fixed pin that easily hooks onto the truck. The truck can maneuver well, and with the trailer attached, the whole vehicle feels quite imposing and long. It measures almost 29 centimeters in length, which makes it nearly as long as the boat. You could question whether the animal is really that well contained, since part of it sticks out, and with a few heavy knocks, it could probably destroy the entire trailer. But you shouldn't think about it too realistically. It looks good, and once again, the main focus here is clearly on playability. You can easily remove the grill bars, take the dinosaur out, and put it back in again without any hassle. The last thing I'm going to build is the villain's car. In terms of construction, it's quite similar to the truck, so you really feel that everything stays within the same theme, which I see as a positive thing. The color palette is a bit different, with more blue used instead of red. At the same time, even fewer parts are used for the bodywork here. There's no grille, no windshield, and certainly no doors or roof. I do find the way LEGO uses Euclip bricks here quite creative again. It's another and fun way to add lighting and weapons on the car. It's definitely a nice addition to the set, and from a commercial point of view, it's very well thought out to include villains as well, so you have two opposing sides and can immediately start creating stories. That said, I can't quite shake the feeling that this build is a bit of a mandatory extra. It feels somewhat minimal for actual confrontation, and I find the included accessories a little odd. There's dynamite, but also a frying pan instead of some additional weaponry. I also think it's a pity that there's only room for one minifigure, unless you place someone in the crate, which doesn't really feel elegant, certainly not for the boss of the villains. It could have been interesting to cover that crate with plates and turn it into some kind of raised seat or throne on top. Still, I don't want to end on a negative note. It does feel like a small, satisfying build after already completing 3 larger models. And of course, a bit of variety within a set is important as well. For me, the end result is definitely impressive. It offers a lot of play features and really lets your imagination run free. As a kid, I would have been very happy with this set. I did quite a bit of research while preparing this video, and I was already familiar with the sets and images from the Adventurers theme, but this was actually the first set I truly discovered and built myself, and I really enjoyed it. I do feel like this is a theme I want to explore further, especially the larger sets set in the desert environment, although those unfortunately don't come cheap. Still, who knows? Maybe I'll come across one during one of my many trips to flea markets or while clearing out attics. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It's completely free. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.